Hello and welcome to the Journal. I'm Steve Kendall. As we approach Memorial Day, a day reserved to remember and honor military veterans who have died while serving in the armed forces, we thought it would be a perfect time to talk with those who provide resources to those who have served. We're joined by Frank Cline, a Veterans Service Officer of the Hancock County Veterans Service Office, and Zach Migura of the Wood County Veterans Service Commission. So, gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for coming in today and talking to us.
Thank you,
Zach, just talk a little bit in general about what these organizations do. Each county generally has some version of this. Talk about what those things generally provide, and then we can talk about in detail about all of those services and resources that are available for our veterans.
Oh, sure, Steve. Well, so the Ohio Revised Code establishes that all 88 counties will have a Veterans Service Commission. So the Common Pleas judges appoints 5 Veterans Service Commissioners. So those are rotating on a 5-year term. Every year they stagger. But then there's also the staff. So executive director, I'm dual-hatted as an executive director and county veteran service officer. And then you might have other employees, full-time staff or part-time staff that could be financial assistants, transportation drivers, county veteran service officers, or office admin. So we're there to help do a whole wide array of things. One of the biggest misconceptions is that we are the VA, and we're not. So we are county funded. It's set up in the ORC that way. So we are advocating on behalf of veterans and their survivors. They're eligible for any kind of federal, state, local benefits. We're trying to help educate our clients and then help them navigate the waters also. So as a county veteran service officer, we're a lot more lawyer-esque than we are social workers. So we look at what every veteran situation is different. So when they served, what happened when they served, do they have any, long-term residual disabilities. Then you can look at filing claims with the VA. We try to get into VA healthcare, private healthcare, look at benefits, look at cemeteries. So we try to look at anything and everything that they're eligible for. So we do a widespread, that's just in the VA realm. We also provide financial assistance. So every county does things a little differently, and that's up to the Veterans Service Commission. It's not so much of a supplemental income type situation, it's more of a emergency situation. So, and again, each county does it different. Right. We provide transportation to VA appointments. So here in Wood County, we contract with Black and White Paratransit, so they'll take our veterans door to door to their VA healthcare appointments.
Now, Frank, you're a veteran service officer. What is typically the things that you would deal with in terms of like a typical day for you when you're on the job, basically?
Oh, okay, I'll keep this short.
No, you've got plenty of time. Go right ahead.
So I do hold multiple roles also with the Hancock County Veterans Service Office. I am also the financial assistance manager. Okay. And that aspect of the Veterans Service Office has nothing to do with the VA. That's actually comes from the counties, directed by the ORC. And I'm also the current president of the Hancock County Memorial Squad. Typical day, come in, and first thing I do is check my appointment list. I don't, some people look at it before they go to work. I don't. I come in and check it the first thing in the morning. But it's an array of things. It could be something as simple as a change of address in the VA system, okay? And there are forms to fill out. To a full-blown claim. I've had them come in for a general benefits counseling, which is usually about an hour long to review everything that the VA has to offer benefit-wise, and it could turn into a full-blown 12 or 14 different service-connected claims and end up it being an hour and a half, 2 hours. Okay. One thing I would like to reiterate, and Zach touched on, we are not the VA. One of the things that popped in my mind was a lot of misconception for veterans is that, I wasn't in combat.
So therefore, I'm not. I don't qualify for any of this.
And a lot of our procrastinators. I was a procrastinator. I went 40-something years before I filed. I worked at the office 2 years before I even filed. So we procrastinate because a lot of veterans out there, both men and women, they think the VA is for those poor soldiers that really got messed up, but it covers all of us. You don't have to be in combat. If you served in the armed forces, U.S. Armed Forces, and you were honorably discharged or under an honorable discharge or a general discharge, we always say, make an appointment, come in our office, okay? And we'll sit down and we'll review everything that the VA has to offer,
Sure.
and what we have in our accounting.
I was going to say, because there are as you said, there are VA benefits, there are state benefits, there are
local,
and then there are the county benefits.
Absolutely.
And you want to make sure whoever's
Yeah.
eligible takes it, not advantage of them, but
Right.
what they're entitled to have.
What
by
they're
virtue of
entitled to,
serving.
actually,
Yeah.
and that's the key word right there.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
entitled to it. They deserved it. They
Yes.
earned that. Okay,
Right.
it's not being given it to them. It's something they earned.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
we do have a lot of we do have a resiliency manager officer. And we have programs that have been developed out of our office, and some of them are national, like Battle Buddies, GI Tunes, Discovery of New Life. My favorite, Guitars for Vets.
All right. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
And so, kind of explain what each of those is a little bit. So,
Okay.
Guitars for Vets and Battle Buddies.
I'll go to so Battle Buddies is we just actually got it going again. Okay, and that's why we hired in Ed. Oh my God, Newton. Sorry, Ed.
It's okay.
hired in Ed Newton. He's a resilience manager, and that program actually was given. We developed it. It was given to an outside source, and it kind of went to the wayside, as well as a couple other programs. So basically, Battle Buddies is I'm qualified, went through the training and everything like that, and we are there for veterans who are suffering from anything. Okay,
Yeah.
we're there to back them up. Okay, and again to get them the help they need. GI Tunes, great program. They basically, you sit down with a clinical psychologist and you review what makes you feel good, what makes you feel bad, music-wise. They put together a great music selection and put it on a iPod or whatever they use these days. And then you actually can come in every 2-3 months or whenever and change that. Guitars for Vets, my favorite. I'm the 36th graduate. Zach graduated from Guitars for Vets. All service connected veterans. 10 weeks of lessons. They give you a loaner guitar, and after the program, you graduate. You get a free guitar, a case, the strings, everything you need to continue. We have in Hancock County, because every county has a chapter, or will get a chapter, hopefully. We just meet like the last Thursday of every month. And we meet at the DAV, the AMVETS, somebody's house, and we just go over a lot of stuff that we've learned previously. And here's the good thing about it: there's no cost to a veteran whatsoever.
Okay.
All this is free to the veteran.
Okay. Well, we come back, we can talk a little bit more about, because obviously there's a lot of areas, a lot of things we want to make sure that veterans who have earned this, take advantage of what's available to them, that get what they get the things that they've earned. So
Absolutely.
Back in just a moment with Frank Cline from the Hancock County Veterans Service Office and Zach Migura from the Wood County Service Commission. Back in just a moment here on The Journal. Thank you for staying with us here on The Journal. Our guests are two representatives from County Veteran Services Commissions and offices. As we approach Memorial Day, of course, veterans have earned a huge number of benefits, but not all of them take the time to find out what resources they have earned and to use those. So, Zach, talk about some of the misconceptions that veterans have when it comes to being able to access these services and whether or not they believe they're eligible to.
Sure, Steve. So like Frank said, some are hesitant for a wide variety of reasons. Some think that by not applying for benefits that they're entitled to, that they're saving it for someone else. And yes, some veterans need help more than others, but the way the funding structure is from Congress is they're entitled to it. And the way the healthcare system works is if veterans don't apply and enroll in VA healthcare, they're not going to get that funding. So in the perfect world, as many vets that are eligible apply and enroll to get in the VA healthcare system, because healthcare and benefits are two different worlds of VA.
Okay. All right.
Then every veteran has a different situation. So one of the saddest things is that veterans wait decades before they file a claim when they could have been eligible right out of service. We see a lot of times when veterans are sometimes on their deathbed or already passed. And yes, we can take care of a claim at that point. It makes things a whole lot easier through the whole process.
Earlier in the,
as soon as possible.
curve than then. Right.
And our job is to present as favorable of a claim as possible to the VA while preventing fraud. So, we get some vets coming in saying, get me to 100%. And it's like, no, our job is to get you all that you're entitled to.
And
we make sure that the rules, the regulations, the evidence, it's all there. But the big thing is just to say, hey, get it on record, get it in the VA system. Yeah, and then what you do from there is on your own decision, but we're just there to help advise and guide that.
Yeah, and go ahead, Frank.
To add on to that, and it's just not the veterans, okay? They're surviving spouses.
Sure.
And in some cases, they're dependent children.
Right.
Especially veterans who have passed away of a service-connected injury or illness. We have a lot of clients that are surviving spouses, and if they make the eligibility aspects of things, they can apply for survival. We refer to as survivor's pension. If they end up in a nursing care facility, assisted living facility, the eligibility is there. They get aid and attendance, okay, and they get a special monthly pension on top of the survivor's pension if they are deemed eligible based on their health care, okay, that they need help with medication, they need help showering, somebody has to cook for them, they have to do everything for them. So those are there for the dependents of the whether he's deceased or not. There's benefits there for them also. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So one of the things is healthcare. Healthcare is a big thing in the VA, and I always get veterans in all the time, and they basically say, "Hey, my buddy's in the VA. How the heck did he get in the VA when he retired from Cooper Tire, or he retired from
the private, some
Absolutely.
other."
So the misconception in the VHA system, which is the Veterans Health Administration, those veterans are all service connected. They're not. The vast majority of veterans in the Veterans Health Administration, in the system getting VA health care, are usually in Priority Group 7 and Priority Group 8. And there's 8 priority groups.
Okay.
And Priority Group 7 is those that that meet exactly at the national threshold income level or below that. Okay. And Priority Group 8 is everybody that's above that national threshold, but they make the GMT table threshold levels that are set by the state and by the county which they live in. In other words, a single veteran, and the numbers changed in 2022, they always go, they seem to be, the trend is they're going up. As the cost of living index goes up, they go up also. So in Hancock County, a single veteran that makes $44,672 a year, I believe, don't quote me on that exactly on that.
Sure.
He may be eligible for VHA health care. And it's not an insurance, it's a benefit. Married couple, which most of them are when they come in the office, married couple, it's around $54,000, $55,000 a year, and they qualify for Priority Group 8. Now there are some minor co-pays involved in there, but they do qualify. They would be eligible for the benefit.
Yeah, and depending on what county you live in, those numbers would be, the numbers are different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you look at one of the things is, and I get this all the time, my buddy's in Putnam County, and he's in the VA system, and I can't get into it here. And he makes more money than I do. Well, that's why.
That's why, because of the geographic location and whatever the income levels are in that county.
Right.
But one little factor, so what the VA healthcare system will always take care of are things that are service connected.
Absolutely.
So it could be that the veterans never filed a claim, then they get in, they file a claim. No, they could make $1 million a month, and if they're service connected, the VA healthcare is going to take care of that.
Right.
So that it's really hard for veterans to say, my buddy gets this, because we get that all the time.
Sure.
We can't go off what your buddy's situation is because your situation is your own.
As you said, everybody's unique. So
we're all different. Absolutely, absolutely. And the other one too is and Zach hit it. You could be 100% disabled through the Veterans Administration and still work. You still hold a job. Okay.
Yeah.
So and it's all service connected.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to getting in contact with you folks, what's the simplest thing? Just to pick up the phone and call each of the offices? I mean, it's like you have to go on a computer and do something. You can simply
you can do it through our website,
but it's just as simple. You can still do it the old style. Well, pick up the phone and call.
And that sometimes helps. The phone call can help because we kind of triage it right there to know what you're coming in for, so we can kind of prepare you to come in. We really want to work by appointments because, like Frank said, it's a good hour usually of sit down.
Right.
Even if someone's just coming in for a state veteran's ID card, we still want to have the whole conversation because a lot of veterans just don't know what's out there. So we want to have the big talk.
And probably in those conversations you pick up things that they may not have thought of, and you say, well, wait a minute, tell me more about that. It's something that they may not would have qualified them for something or that they thought was something they were even eligible for. if you do have somebody who just walks in, you'll be able to work with them, given the time frame that you have, right? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
You're not going to turn anybody away who knocks on the door.
Their DD-214 usually tells me a lot. The DD-214 is their discharge.
Okay.
Yep, that's
All
their
right,
discharge.
thank you. Yep,
That's what they get when they leave the service, and that has their military history on there. Not all of it, but it has a good deal of it. So, and a lot of veterans that do come in, that make the phone call, do come in and sit in for benefits counseling. They don't actually know what they want. They just want to see what's out there, and it's our job to find that stuff. And once the veteran gets relaxed and we start talking, I look at his DD-214 and I say, "Oh, you're 11 Bravo 20," and that was an infantryman, and heavy machine gun, and of course common sense, and of course I'm veteran, I'm ex-military, so we understand this. But common sense tells you the noise level. And the first
right away.
Absolutely. First thing I ask them, you have issues with your hearing? Oh yeah. Do you have ringing in your ears? Oh yeah.
But they just feel that's normal. That should just be.
They think it's normal.
There's no treat.
That's right. That's right. They think it's normal, and then we go from there.
And you mentioned that we don't turn anybody away. Even if we can't do as much as we'd like to at that current time, we can still do some things to say, hey, we're going to save the date, get a follow-up appointment, because at least get the clock started.
Absolutely.
We can buy, it's an intent to file. If there's even a potential of a claim, that gives us a year to get things together.
That's one thing that's kind of automatic. We do automatically. Because we're meeting this veteran for the first time. A lot of my clients, they've been out for 40 plus years. Memories aren't there like they used to be, okay? So we do an intent to file, 21, and a POA, which gives the veteran actually is giving us the right to represent them, and that gives us a whole year, because more times than not, I've had veterans, had a great conversation with veterans, found a few things, and then 3 days later, a week later, 2 weeks later, he calls back and like, oh, I forgot. This happened here in 1967. And we've got that date saved, so
you got it. At least you put it. Yeah, you put a flag down there to say, okay, we started here. We'll come back in a moment. Obviously, a lot more to talk about. Back on the Journal here in just a moment. Thank you for staying with us on the Journal. Our guests are two representatives from County Veterans Services offices, Frank Cline from Hancock County and Zach Migura from Wood County. And we were talking about obviously making sure that veterans get access, take advantage of the things they've earned through all of these systems. Obviously, there are things that as you said, you deal with VA-related things in a lot of cases, but there are things that fall outside of that, and you have other connections with other agencies to help to route people to things that maybe isn't your office's job to do or your office, but you can still help them with those things as well.
Right. Yes. From where we sit, there are some things that we definitely shouldn't get in the weeds with, and we try to make that good, solid contact handoff. Whether it's jobs and family services, they have people that do employment there, or just any of the other services that anybody would qualify for. We're trying to make good warm handoff so that it's not just, hey, go call this whole list and hopefully you get one of them. It's hopefully that good, smooth process.
And hitting on what Zach said earlier too, when you call our offices, you're not going to get a no. We don't do that. Okay, I have spent several hours on certain situations that just pop up. Okay, we're not going to let them go off by themselves, not knowing which direction they're going to go to. So we work with we're hand in hand with all the services we have in Hancock County. We do have a program, and I think all 88 counties have financial assistance, and that's what one of my dual roles is, financial assistance manager, and that has nothing to do with the VA. There is eligibility criteria there, with obviously honorable discharge, and then there are some income levels that we have to pay closely attention to due to the ORC. But everybody runs into problems now and then, and they can come to our office. We'll help them out. That's what we're there. That's what we're there for. Whether we get them set up with ODJFS, or if we get them set up for financial help in certain situations, that's what we're there for. But they are not going to walk away or leave the phone not knowing which direction to go. So we'll take care of that.
Yeah, and that's a really important thing for them to understand. And I know in the way you've discussed this, demographically, it looks like you probably don't get. Do you get a lot of like younger veterans, like they're in their 20s, 30s, or is this? I get the impression that it really takes a while for a lot of veterans, even at that age, to say, well, I need to contact this office. They wait, as you were describing.
It really depends. It seems like generationally, the Vietnam vets That's probably the biggest population that I've seen overall. But in general, it seems like the recent vets getting out, I'm still in the Army Reserve, and I've deployed in 14, and it was a part of our process to know, here's what your VA benefits are. So the whole process is getting better understood through the Department of Defense. So we do see a lot of younger vets, especially the ones that are banged up.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead, Frank. Sorry.
And Zach's exactly right. The younger vets, they're of course in the age of technology. They are well more informed. Some of them come in my office, and they're there just to the formality of filing, and they've already got a whole list of things that's wrong with them. And we still review everything because even they
may miss something or
absolutely. But I just did a claim about 3 weeks ago for a 96-year-old World War II veteran.
Oh my God.
Okay, so, and talk about procrastination. I didn't think anything was there. Korean War veterans, but yes, I do have a lot of Vietnam veterans. That's my era in that era there. And when we left the service, we all have the same story. We don't remember a whole lot about it, other than initialing things and goodbye.
See you later.
And see you later. So there was no outtakes. There was nothing.
No exit interview. No orientation to say, hey, and when you leave, here are the things you could do this right away. Here are the things you're earned.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing. So, well, that's good to know though that that's improved at least. So they're aware when they're discharged that where to start if they indeed want to pursue it that second.
And you mentioned, if I could jump in,
Sure.
One of the biggest problems we run into if the discharge can't be found and we can't prove veteran status, that's going to make it almost impossible for benefits. So one of the best ways to safeguard a military discharge is to get it recorded with your county recorder's office.
Fantastic. Good point.
If that doesn't happen, we go to St. Louis, the National Archives Administration. But sometimes that's, especially during COVID, it was a big mess.
It takes a slow process.
Right.
Could be a slow process.
The best thing anybody could do is record their military discharge and also let their survivors know, have a game plan, have a folder to say when something happens, here's where it is and here's who you need to go see. Because we want to be as proactive as we can with all of this.
And that's the first piece of paper you have to have, a first document you have to be able to find and say.
Without it, you're not a veteran.
It becomes difficult.
Absolutely, without that, you don't. We do have access. In my office, I do have access, and so does our assistant director. We have access to government database system called DPRIS, DPRIS.
Okay.
Any veterans that left the United States Army from 1996 forward, I can usually find that in usually about 10 or 15 minutes. So and then each service has a different time date. Like I think the Air Force is 2003, Navy, and that's where it's going into now.
Okay.
Anybody before that, like Zach said, we have to go through the NPRC. And because of COVID, they actually shut the doors and didn't open the doors really until March of this year. And they were 500-something thousand requests behind. And patience is what we need at this point.
And I know this is going to be a ridiculous question, but what happens if you can't find that document? There's no other thing no other group of documents you can put together to prove that.
It's almost like private eye work to try to figure out historically.
Absolutely, and I have had to do that before. And it takes time. But then again, you enlist the help of the veteran. I mean, it's his claim.
Sure.
So he's got a stake in it. So letters from his buddies, pictures, all that stuff. Absolutely, we can piecemeal. Even in the NPRC, so the National Archives had a fire in 1973. Some of the records were burnt. Most of them were actually damaged by water. They still have a crew to this day, still piecemealing these things back together. So, and that's basically what we'd have to do also. If the NPRC does not have anything, we actually have to piecemeal this thing together ourselves.
Find things that say yes, pictures, photos.
But even pictures and photos don't say the character of discharge. Because a lot of benefits, they depend on, was it honorable or was it other than honorable?
So you really have to start going back and almost backtracking and to find something that can, maybe somewhere along the way you find a document that does give you a piece of that. And
the older generation, and my generation, and even older than that, and we because conversing with my veterans, they told us one thing we all remember when we got out of the service is when we finished processing and we signed that DD-214, back in the day it was the old onion paper, right? So they rip off those copies and everything like that and gave you a copy, and we remember them saying, this is the most important piece of paper you'll ever hold in your hand in your life. When you get back home,
Yeah.
Go to your county courthouse and have it recorded. And a lot of us did. A lot of the older vets come in, can't find my DD-214. Call the recorder's office, and
They have a
9 times
copy.
out of 10, it's there.
Wow.
Because that was our last standing orders, and for some reason we did. We obeyed them, right?
Well, yeah, good. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, and real quick, because we've got just a little less than a minute here. If people want to get in contact with any of their county offices, but you guys specifically, the number's in the phone book. It's online. You can find the number, and that's one of the ways to start. Just pick up the phone
Absolutely.
and call and say, "Here's my question," and somebody at that office will get them to one of you guys or whoever they need to talk to.
We have a website, Facebook page, Hancock County Veterans Service Office. Like us. All the information is on there. Our website's hancockcountyveteransserviceoffice.com. And our phone number is 419-424-7036.
Ah, good. Yeah.
And we're at woodcountywets.com, 419-354-9147. So you can submit things through the website, but usually a phone call is a good way to do it, because then we're going to have a dialogue, and you're better prepared to come into that appointment.
And you'll find out things. You'll find out the questions you didn't know you were supposed to ask, or things you could have brought up. Well, Frank Cline from Hancock County, thank you so much. And
thank you.
Zach Migura from Wood County, appreciate you guys being here.
Absolutely.
And feel free anytime to get in touch with us to talk about this.
Great, Steve.
Anything we can do to help. You can check us out at WBGU.org, and you can watch us every Thursday night at 8 o'clock here on WBGU PBS. We'll see you again next time. Good night and good luck.